What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Palantir. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what is really moving it, and where I see things going from here. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Palantir is up 1.54%, 75.37 the high, 72.45 the low. So a lot of volatility. That'll make a little bit more sense once I go over the technicals. But today you do have kind of low volume, 57.1 million for volume, 86 is the average. So the fact that Palantir is green today is always a good thing. You can kind of see just based on my watch list, a lot of the hot growth stocks are just in the massive red today. So Palantir green is always a good thing. And on a side note, majority of the volume that is being done, even though it is a little bit lower today, is truly big money buying. So these are all the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000. I know it might seem obvious, the fact that, yeah, big money is buying, but a lot of growth stocks right now are getting a lot of volume from algorithmic trading. So it's being kind of artificially propped up. Palantir is truly getting big money buying and selling it. So again, that adds a whole different level spectrum of support levels. So again, once it comes down to the technicals, it makes a little bit more sense. But this is that string of selling that did bring it down ultimately, like right here. But aside from that, like I said, it on a lot of big money's radar is always a good thing. Aside from that though, only SEC filings have come out recently is two 144s. That was after hours yesterday, showed basically two directors sold. Market doesn't seem to really care. There's been a lot of 144s recently. Like I said, market doesn't seem to really care all that much. Palantir is on kind of a pedestal, and yeah, nothing really wrong with that. It's been on a pedestal ever since I think roughly around the $30 range, as I've been kind of telling you guys about that. I do basically one Palantir video every single month, as you can kind of see. So last one I did state, which came out on November the 25th, saying that it was going to be around that $75 range. At the time, I think it was like 55, and even prior to that, technicals were pointing for it to be above 80. That was November the 19th. It's been a while since I've done a video, but needless to say, definitely I think it's very easy to predict where Palantir is going. Sometimes is it logical or not? That's kind of yet to be seen, because you do have even analysts kind of opposite spectrums. So for instance, even some of the latest analyst ratings, you have a sell rating, which was from Mizuho, Greg, who has a 62% success rating, $44 price target. Then you also have polar opposite. You have like 75s, also a 70. There was one done yesterday, initiated coverage. William, who has a 59% success rating. So like I said, all over the place. As a consensus of all the ratings, $41.92 is that price target, and that does represent a 43.65% downside. So in my opinion, one of the biggest driving factors for Palantir right now is technicals, analyst ratings, and just articles. A lot of bullish articles on Palantir on how it is poised to be a $100 stock, which in reality could come to fruition even in the short term based on the Elliott wave technicals. It does have a pivot point right now of 65.35, so for as long as it is above that, then it is anticipated to get between that $90 and $95 range. So once again, very good stuff. That doesn't mean it's going to happen next week, most likely in the next month or so. So this is why I do this type of analysis, going over all the data points pretty much once a month for the most part. So let me know your thoughts on that. But aside from that though, I'll go over the technicals near the tail end of the video, but I also like to go over shorts, not because Palantir is a squeeze play, but it's good to analyze what they're doing. So right now, 3.63% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 76.15 million shares overall are being shorted. Right now, shorts are returning 318,000 shares. So once again, analyzing all of this, it kind of does validate the green day today, because there's a lot of ammunition, as you can kind of see right here. So there's more than 10 million shares available to be shorted. So if shorts really did feel that Palantir was just overdone, there's more than enough ammunition to really double down. Even it is very cheap to short Palantir. So the cost to borrow average is 0.28. You do see some signs of manipulation. So cost to borrow minimum is negative 0.09%. So once again, I see this as relatively good stuff. One thing to note though, shorts did get a little bit more bold recently as we kind of entered into December. So shorts started to really get back in. maybe they felt that it was peaked, but obviously I think Palantir is one of those stocks that you never really want to bet against. But 129 million in calls, 36 million in puts. 47% of all the options being done today are optimistic in nature, and of the call options that are being purchased, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $82 range for next week. So pretty good optimism for that. And then bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly 65. So a lot of volatility for Palantir, and I think that stems from just macro concerns as well as Palantir's own technicals. As of right now, with it at 74 and change, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So 75.26 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. It kind of bounced off of that general area, so we do know it's a very strong one at that. And then flip side, 68.92 is going to be that next strong support. Very wide gaps, and that's just largely because Palantir has moved up very fast in a short time period. But quickly moving over here to look at the actual chart itself. So on the chart, I do have the ALMA, 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, super trend, as well as stochastic RSI. Because of the recent consolidation and volatility, that's actually reset the stochastic RSI, so it's not considered overbought, despite it running up as much as it has over the last little bit. So generally, that's kind of a good thing. It is right now above that ALMA, so that blue line right there, if you can kind of tell right there. But aside from that, it is above all the key moving averages and everything that I like to look at. So absolutely nothing wrong with Palantir or anything against it continuing its positive momentum, because Palantir is putting out a lot of good news. And even though today is a lot of volatility, a lot of the data points have been coming out have been really very strong on a macro level. So there is no real reason, in my opinion, for Palantir to really pull back. Even in the short term, looking at the 1 month, there's absolutely no sign of it breaking. But obviously anything can happen at I think right now as well, the big thing, market is really pricing in a 25 basis point cut, and that is for the upcoming December 18th Fed meeting. So right now there is a 97.1% likelihood of that occurring. From now until then, if something does change, then that might get priced out. That could cause some volatility in the broader market and through that Palantir. But like I said, and like I've been even stating over my last couple of videos, when I've signaled like $35 is coming, and then 50, 80, like 75, it's been pretty much like eerily, like very accurate. So let me know your thoughts on that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and give yourself a shout out if you've been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been doing with Palantir. One final thing though, I do want to share with you, I did launch a Patreon where I'm giving buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers. One actually was even this right over here. So even though the market is kind of doing its thing and whatever, I did suggest that SoundHound right here was going to move higher, and it is up 24.65% just today alone. And I've been stating ever since this was at like roughly $5 that this was going to hit roughly around 18, and lo and behold, here we are. So definitely pop over to my Patreon, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.